All right, happy Yin Tuesday. This is Everest, our mascot. Yes, it is a purple husky. For those who have always wanted to see the magical, mysterious purple husky, here is the Yin mascot for the night, purple husky. If you're joining us virtually, as in watching the video, grab a folded blanket, 2 blocks or 2 stacks of books. You may or may not need them, but having them is always nice. And tonight I wanted to bring in the idea of trying to find balance. And when I was thinking about finding balance, I was thinking, especially in the time that we've been going through in the past few months, it's really easy for our minds and our bodies to drift into what doesn't feel good or what isn't working or what is wrong because we're really um, thrown all of that via social media and the news. And if it's pretty obvious because you're not leaving the house or you're leaving the house in an entirely new way with masks on or gloves or being very aware of being distant from people. So it can feel, you can feel very out of sorts and you're thrown off balance. So I want tonight to maybe try to drift to the other side of what that might be. So what are the positives that can come so that it doesn't all have to be doom and gloom? So where can you find those rays of sun? What has changed and shifted in a positive way that you can bring in as a reminder to allow these things to even out and not feel so heavy in one direction? And if you're that person that's feeling super happy, cool, I love it, keep going. But if you're not and you feel like you're still in a lot of turmoil and struggle, tonight is going to be that night of saying, like, yes, we have these places that get dark and spinny or are very difficult, but they're never without the opposite. You cannot have this place without having the place of grounding and health and well-being that comes from that. So maybe bringing some of that in for yourself. So thinking about where are those places that you can focus and bring that in. So all of that being said, normally I let you start wherever you want. I want to start with Nadi Shodhana, breath. If sitting feels difficult, you by all means can do this on your back, because I'm not going to do the typical Nadi Shodhana. If you like to do this breath work by placing your fingers on your nose, you can. I don't teach it that way because I work with a lot of people who don't want to be covered up in their face. So I'm not going to be teaching that. If that's already a practice you incorporate, feel free to do that. But we're going to place our palms up on our legs. If you need to lean against something for comfort, because we're going to be here a bit, feel free to lean. You could have your legs out if that feels better, or bring the soles of feet together. Again, because we're not, if you really need to lay down, you can, but it works a little better if you're seated. So before we start, let's settle in. So soft gaze or closed eyes. And just begin to find some regular breaths. Take a deep inhale and just let it go. Just begin to become aware of the sensation within the body. Are you feeling tight and restricted? Does breathing feel tense and difficult? Do you feel good and open and free tonight? Where are you landing as you begin this practice this evening? Remember, you approach that with no right and no wrong. And take another round of breath here. Deep inhale through the nose. And just let it go. You begin to relax the shoulders away from the ears. there a lot of tension in the jaw? Can you wiggle the jaw back and forth? Is the mind spinning and busy? This next round of breath. Allow the mind to slow down a little bit more. Take a deep inhale and just let it go. Then come to that heart space and leave the hands where they are. If you'd like to bring them to prayer Anjali Mudra, if you'd like to place a hand on top of the chest and another on top of that, feel free. You can always leave one hand down on the leg and let the thumb and the first finger touch. What feels organic to you? Allow yourself to connect with this heart space. Maybe bring in that idea of balance tonight with your intention. Knowing that it's okay to be and feel wherever you are, but allowing an even balance can promote so much well-being and healing within you. Maybe tonight can just be a baby step towards that. Begin to bring in any intention you need to set for this evening. Allow it to spin through this heart space. Let it pulse with the breath. Taking collective breath for intention here. Take a deep inhale. Open the mouth, release it out. Taking 3 soft, even rounds of breath for anything you need to bring in or anything you need to let go of. When you're done, slowly come back. If you've been in the seated with crossed legs, sitting in easy, just reverse whatever leg is in front. You need to shake them out for a moment, feel free. Again, you can leave the legs extended, you can have soles of feet together, whatever feels comfortable. And then I want you to bring the hands back to the thighs, palms face up, relax the shoulders, soft gaze, closed eyes. And I want you to become aware of the left palm. Imagine as if the breath was pulling in through the left palm, inhaling up the left arm, coming into the chest and pausing at the heart space. And then exhaling out the right arm, down the arm, and out the right palm. Try to make sure shoulders are relaxed. And then we'll inhale as if we're inhaling through the right palm. Focus the energy there. Pulling up through the right arm, into the chest and the heart, and pause. Exhaling out the left shoulder, down the left arm, out the left palm. And now with your rounds of breath, you're just going to imagine doing that rotation, inhaling through left palm, up the left arm, pausing in that heart space, exhaling out the right shoulder, down the right arm, out the right palm. And inhaling, right palm up the right arm, into the heart, and pause. Out the left shoulder, exhaling down the arm, out the left palm. I'm just going to get quiet and allow you to go with your own breath. We're still connected, even though I'll be silent. Just take your time. Take about 3 more rounds wherever you are. When you're ready, finishing up your last round. And slowly find your way back. And since we've been sitting for a little while, you can bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor, just let the knees tick tock. You can let the legs go out straight. So the purpose of the Nadi Shodhana is actually to balance the brain, to get everything in the nervous system back into balance. So it's a great way to start that idea of bringing balance into your body and your system. Feel free to let the legs go long. You can bounce them out. So anything that feels comfortable. And then if you want, we're going to find our first shape. You can bring the blanket. We're going to find butterfly, and you can sit up on the edge of the blanket to help the pelvis tilt forward. So you're not sitting all the way on the blanket. Soles of the feet are going to come together. If you want more sensation, you're bringing the heels closer. I'm going to leave it up to you tonight. It's fine if you want them to be further away. If you want to place your elbows on the stacks of books, you can place your forehead in the heels of your hands, or you can just fold and let yourself fall forward. So anything that feels comfortable here will allow you to support yourself, since we'll be here for a little bit of time. I always forget to say there's the chat box at the bottom of the screen. If you need to send me a chat, feel free. And then gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and just let go. Again, coming to this idea of balancing through breath. Imagine as if the breath can come up and down the spine like a wave, from the root, from the ground, from the base, all the way up out the crown and back down again, allowing things to relax and release. Dana Falls writes on yoga. Yoga is not about the pose. It's not the alignment of toes or hips or shoulders. It's not about the form. Yoga is an invitation to explore, not a command performance. It speaks the language of the soul. In the flow of breath and motion, yoga coaxes us from the confines of the known, across the silent threshold into vastness. Yoga is the union of prayer and movement, guided from inside. It is healing and the joy of saying yes to life. Breathe, relax, and feel the body receive its own truth. The seed of freedom flowers within each of us whenever we are open to what's real. Larry has written the definitive work on nervous habits. She etches lines on people's foreheads when they're not paying attention. She makes lists of everything that could go wrong while she is waiting for the train. She is sure she left the stove on and the house is going to explode in her absence. When she makes love, her mind is on the failure rates and health hazards of various methods of birth control. The drug companies want Larry to test their new tranquilizers, but they don't understand what she knows too well. There is no drug that can ease her pain. She is terrified of the unknown. Continue to find that breath, seeing where you can find a little more openness in the body and the mind. Is the mind busy? Are you off in some lists that you're making? Or can you be here with yourself? Or does that feel like too much? How can you find that balance here in this time? You feel the sear of wounds. You feel the sear of wounds still open, but the sky is open, and the sun will pour through the rain and the clouds and the fog. Light will find the way to you, heal, let go, and travel on. Morgan Harper Nichols. Frederick Beechner writes, maybe it's all utterly meaningless. Maybe it's all unutterably meaningful. If you want to know which, pay attention to what it means to be truly human in a world that half the time we're in love with and half the time scares the hell out of us. The unexpected sound of your name on somebody's lips, the good dream, the strange coincidence, the moment that brings tears to your eyes, the person who brings life to your life. Even the smallest events hold the greatest clues. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and let go. Slowly begin to find your way up. Maybe you want to help the knees back up, feet on the earth, and tick off the knees side to side. Maybe you need a seated cat-cow to release out. Maybe you want to find some tabletop and do a full cat-cow. Maybe you need to even come down onto your back and hug the knees into the chest. Finding your version of release from this shape. And when you're ready, finding the pause. Soft gaze, eyes closed. A moment of stillness. To notice, just come up, releasing without judgment. Then when you're ready, slowly begin to come back. So the next shape we're going to do is half sleeping dragon. So I don't often, haven't often brought this one. So we'll go over some different options for it. So for half sleeping dragon, you have a leg extended and one folded underneath, and you come back down. For some people, that's going to be very intense. So maybe you have the books behind you or stacked blankets, help support because you're feeling that stretch here. Some people like to come down onto the stack of books, which looks different than having the leg extended. And what you would do is you would bend the extended leg so that the knee was facing the sky and then come down. So this knee that's folded doesn't have to be down on the earth. So that's another way. And again, if you want to bend this leg underneath you with the extended leg, maybe this is your shape. Maybe you need to rest the elbows on top of those books. If all of that is too much, raise a hand, give me a signal. You can go into, all right, then you can do a half butterfly instead. You're not going to get that stretch in the front, which is fine. Sometimes it's too much. So you'll extend one leg, foot comes to the thigh, let that fall out. And then you can fold forward over the leg or to the side. I would recommend at this point going to the side if you can, because you already just did the folding forward if you're going to do the half butterfly instead. So finding your shape. And gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and let go. And this is another fiery, fast one. So you're using that breath. You're finding that balance. Again, you can use the chat box if that half sleeping dragon. isn't working, let me know so I can offer you something else or find the half butterfly. Gather that breath deeply. Just let go. No boy. I love you. Okay, so do the half butterfly instead, if since no bueno on that. So extend a leg, foot comes up to the thigh. And what I'm suggesting is, because we just did that forward fold, instead of folding to the center, you'll fold to the side to get some into the side body so you don't feel like it's all coming into that upper part of your back. You don't get that front stretch in the hip flexor, but that's okay. It's not always going to be the case that a pose is going to be appropriate. And if that one doesn't work, let me know. Kavari Patel writes, Dear you who always have so many things to do, so many places to be, your mind spinning like fan blades at high speed, each movement always a blur because you're never still. I know you're tired. I also know it's not your fault. The constant brain buzz is like a swarm of bees threatening to sting if you close your eyes. You've forgotten something again. You need to prepare for that or else. You should have done that differently. But if you closed your eyes, would the world fall apart without you? Or would your mind become the open sky, flock of thoughts flying across the sunrise as you just watched and smiled? So whatever shape you're in, find that breath, that place where it feels full of sensation. You're able to breathe through that. Imagine it opening, giving you some space, giving you some balance. Notice where you feel full sensation. Can you find somewhere else that feels calm within you? Allowing those two places to balance themselves. This is what I have to say to you. Savor the fruits of a lifetime of growth and evolution. I'm not suggesting that you rest on your laurels and declare yourself done, but it's time to bask in the sunlight of your soul and let that warmth reach deep inside your bones. The next stage of your life will rest upon a foundation of gratitude, grace, and celebration. Grace simply comes when it comes, and it isn't in your control. Gratitude can be nurtured and fertilized by paying attention to the gifts that come your way, saying thank you internally and externally, appreciating your life as often as you remember. Celebration means taking stock of how far you've come and letting delight and wonder lead the way. What you are giving birth to today is bigger than your usual perception of yourself. It's okay that you have no idea what's coming next. How could you? Just stay open and the universe will do the rest. Gratitude, grace, and celebration are the keys. Dana Falls. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and let go. Begin to release from this side. You can bring those feet to center. Let the knees tick-tock. You can do some seated cat-cow. So finding the release that you need. And we're going to take 3 rounds of breath from this side. Remember what side you just did. Everybody started doing something different, and I'm not able to see all of you. So inhale, exhale for 1. Inhale, exhale for 2. Take that final round of breath. And then we're going to find our way to the other side. If you prefer the butterfly, then the other leg is going to go long. Foot comes up by the thigh, knee falls out, and we're trying to fold towards the side. If you're doing that half sleeping dragon, once again, you're going to fold that leg back. You can have a leg extended, and maybe this is as far as you come down. Maybe your elbows are on books because this is too far. Or maybe blocks, bolster. You can also try to bring this foot that was extended down. My knee pops up, that's okay. If you want, you can place blocks underneath the sacrum if you bring that extended foot to the ground. Some different crazy options. Again, chat box is open and half butterfly is fine. So gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and just let go. Use that breath. Have patience. The pendulum that swung too far in one direction will swing back. At the moment of its turning, everything hangs in the balance. All the momentum of past actions is suspended in midair. And those who care about what happens next are poised with it. There is a long and anxious pause before the motion shifts, and then a sense of free fall when the world is turned on its head and nothing is known or normal. Have patience then, and do not rush to either extreme. The way will paint its own arrows on the trees if you can wait for clarity. Dana Falls. Again, can you find balance within this place, just in this moment? Maybe that in and of itself becomes a practice of allowing yourself to experience what balance can feel like, so that it's not all heavy, that sometimes it can be light. Hokusai says, by Roger Keyes, Hokusai says, look carefully. He says, pay attention, notice. He says, keep looking, stay curious. He says, there is no end to seeing. He says, look forward to getting old. He says, keep changing. You just get more who you really are. He says, get stuck, accept it, repeat yourself as long as it is interesting. He says, keep doing what you love. He says, keep praying. He says, every one of us is a child. Every one of us is ancient. Every one of us has a body. He says, every one of us is frightened. He says, every one of us has to find a way to live with fear. He says, everything is alive. Shells, buildings, people, fish, mountains, trees, wood is alive. Water is alive. Everything has its own life. Everything lives inside us. He says, live with the world inside you. He says it doesn't matter if you draw or write books. It doesn't matter if you saw wood or catch fish. It doesn't matter if you sit at home and stare at the ants on your veranda, or the shadows in the trees and grasses in your garden. It matters that you care. It matters that you feel. It matters that you notice. It matters that life lives through you. Contentment is life living through you. Joy is life living through you. Satisfaction and strength is life living through you. He says, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Love, feel. Let life take you by the hand. Let life live through you. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and just let go. Finding your way back up out of this shape. Releasing those legs, maybe bringing feet to the earth, a little more than hip width apart. You can let the knees tick-tock side to side. You can take a little twist in the same direction as the knees. So whatever feels good as a release. Maybe you need cow cat, maybe you need a downward dog, maybe you need to come to your back and hug the knees in. And then when you're ready, find the pause. And just notice. Notice this pose, this shape on its own. Maybe you begin to connect them all together. And just notice what has come up. Notice without judgment. Maybe a flood of feelings. Maybe your mind has opened to 1,000 ideas. Maybe everything became quiet. And when you're ready, slowly begin to come back. We're going to find our way into Sphinx/seal pose. So if you have those stacks of books, you can bring them to the front of the mat now. So different ways to line up for this pose. If it's too much to have the forearms on the books, you're just bringing the forearms to the earth. You're going to check out what feels better on the back, either having the legs wide or having them closer together. I'm unable to tell you that. You just check out both ways and see what feels better. You can also bring those blocks or the stacks of books and rest the forearms in order to get more lift in the chest. That might be where you notice more of a difference between where you place the legs. And then about halfway through or closer to the end, I'll offer seal, where you place your hands on the earth. Fingers can actually diagonally face out from you and straighten through the arms. And if that doesn't work for you, then you come back to where you were. So Sphinx/seal. And again, feel free to send me a little chat if none of that's working. Then gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and let go. Morgan Harper Nichols writes, sometimes love is just learning how to stay. It's not always a grand gesture, but an inward posture. Sometimes love isn't seen or appreciated in the way you want, but maybe love goes deeper than what you can see and it rattles the soul. Love is as vast as the ocean, and we're always only swimming on the surface of its greatness. And we may not see how far our love goes or who it will reach, but we can always choose to trust. We need love, even when we do not know where the love we are giving will be received. I feel like, especially in this time, that's such an important idea to keep trying to send out that energy, that idea, heart open of sending that love, because people need it so much right now. Maybe you're one of those people. And again, finding that balance of allowing yourself to receive it as well as send it. Maybe you're always the sender. How does the heart open for you in this lifetime? Do you give everyone full access, or do you keep it closed off? Again, finding balance in these places. Bob Sharples writes, don't meditate to fix yourself, to improve yourself, to redeem yourself. Rather, do it as an act of love, of deep formed friendship to yourself. In this way, there is no longer any need for the subtle aggression of self-improvement, for the endless guilt of not doing enough. It offers the possibility of an end to the ceaseless round of trying so hard that wraps so many people's lives in a knot. Instead, there is now meditation as an act of love. How endlessly delightful and encouraging. If you'd like to try seal, you can bring your hands to the earth and straighten through the arms. Your fingers could face forward, or you can widen where the hands are and even allow the fingers to angle out away from you. So you can play with that the same way that you played with the leg position. And you could try it and decide after 3 breaths, not for you. Chinese proverb. There is light in the soul, there will be beauty in the person. There is beauty in the person, there will be harmony in the house. There is harmony in the house, there will be order in the nation. There is order in the nation, there will be peace in the world. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and let go. Finding your way out of the shape. Maybe you want to just come back into a nice wide-legged child's pose. Maybe you need cow cat. Maybe you need to come back to seated. Maybe you just want to roll right onto your back and hug the knees into the chest and release. Hug the knees into the chest and release. So finding any type of release from this shape that you need. And finding the pause. And allowing yourself to notice what has come up without judgment. Just be aware. When you're ready, slowly begin to come back. Bring that one stack of books with you. We're going to find our way down onto our back. We're going to find our bridge. So if you have the block, bring the block. Just pressing feet into the earth, knees are bent, lift the hips, and allow the sacrum to come down onto the block or the book. Palms face up. Keep yourself open across the chest. Invitation to feel what it's like to extend the legs long on the earth. It usually feels better the higher the block or the books are. So being very mindful that you're not aggravating your low back. Again, that block or books are on the sacrum. They're not on the very low back. And gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and let go. Courage has roots. She sleeps on a futon on the floor and lives close to the ground. Courage looks you straight in the eye. She's not impressed with power trippers and she knows first aid. Courage is not afraid to weep and she is not afraid to pray, even when she is not sure who she is praying to. When Courage walks, it is clear that she has made the journey from loneliness to solitude. The people who told me she is stern were not lying. I just forgot to mention that she is kind. Go in search of more when you are unraveling into severed threads. New stories are waiting to be woven. You can hope for new beginnings. This does not mean your journey will be easy. Moving forward is an act of faith, step by step, even when you cannot imagine the tapestry on the other side of this. No one can take your faith away. Morgan Harper Nichols. Slowly take an inhale. Just release it out. One more breath and letting go. Bring the feet to the earth, pressing down, lift the hips, slide out the books or the block, then slowly come down, upper back, middle back, lower back. Hug the knees into the chest and release. Hug the knees into the chest and release. Make those circles in one direction, in the sacrum, 3 times. Make them in the other. Then when you're ready, bring the knees back into the chest and allow them to fall over to the right. Arms open out in a T or cactus and look over to the left. Finding any version of your twist. You could bring that right hand to the left thigh to give it just a little bit more weight. If you have any other version you like to do, feel free. If twisting is not good for you tonight, feel free to keep your knees towards the sky and just enjoy the moment. And just finding that balance within. Take an inhale and just let go. Take one more round of breath this side. When you're ready, slowly begin to bring the knees back to center. Hug them in and release. Hug them in and release. Make those circles in the sacrum 3 times in one direction and 3 times in the other. Ready, bring the knees back towards the chest. Allow them to fall over to the left. Arms open out in a T or cactus. Looking over the right. Gather that breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and just let go. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and just let go. Bring the knees back up to center. Hug them in and release. Hug them in and release. Make those circles in the sacrum 3 times in one direction, 3 times in the other. Invitation to find any final movement you might need before we set up for final resting pose, Shavasana. So you're at home. If you know that you want like a 20-minute Shavasana, feel free to sign off. If you know you want to just stay there for a long, yummy time, feel free to find a wall. You can do legs up the wall for your Shavasana. You can cover yourself up with a blanket. You can put a pillow underneath your knees as you lay the legs out. If your low back is feeling a little twingy, you can bring the feet to the outer edges of the mat while knees are bent and let the knees knock in for support on each other. So finding any shape that you need here so that you can completely relax. Vipassana, total relaxation, not meditation. If you're down in your shape and you found it, I want you to take your hands and make fists with your hands. Squeeze them tight and squeeze every muscle in your body tight, 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 including in your face. Scrunch up your face, squeeze it tight, 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 scrunch, scrunch. Take an inhale, open the mouth, let it out, release your hands and all the muscles and just let your body sink into the earth. Allow yourself to become completely heavy, weighted, and supported by what is underneath you. Begin to relax the brows, the eyes are heavy. Wiggle the bottom jaw back and forth, releasing any final tension. Tongue is heavy, mouth relaxed. Having thought, allow it to pass. And if another one sneaks in, just let it go. Enjoy these final moments, and I will call you back. Slowly begin to come back. Bring breath back into your beautiful body. Joining the spirit with the physical. Wiggling fingers and toes, nodding head side to side. Maybe bringing the arms overhead for a morning stretch to bring the body back. Where you are is divine. The invitation is to remain. If you're ready, hug the knees into the chest and roll over onto the right and pause here. Knowing that this is a place of beginnings. All things from this moment forward are possible. And remain where you are if it's just lovely. When ready, find your way up to seated. Closed eyes, soft gaze. And closing them once there. And just pausing here. And just noticing. Noticing what has shifted, what has changed. Hopefully refilled what was empty and emptied what was full. Either hands at heart center, palms pressed together or directly on the heart. Back to the intention set at the beginning. Breathing it through this heart space, take a deep inhale. Open the mouth and release it out. Allowing it to fly off to the universe, knowing it will be heard. It is an honor and privilege to practice with you this evening. We bow our head to our hearts. Together we say, Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording. If you're watching the recording, thank you for joining us and being part of our virtual community.